Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
We're thrilled to have on the show an incredible Gen Z folk artist. Yes, you heard it right. Singer, songwriter, and guitarist, Stella Prince. Stella, it's been a long time in coming to have you on the show.
It has been. Thank you so much for inviting me, though, today.
Of course, and it's been worth the wait with your new EP, Dear Future Me.
Yeah.
And so I know you've released some of these songs as singles in the past, but now, you know, after your EP you had out originally 18.
Yes, yep.
And, you know, obviously turning 20 this year.
Oh.
And so now, Dear Future Me, I mean, let's talk about this. How did this come together? And I know that you work with a number of top profile songwriters here in Nashville also, and obviously play a lot of shows.
Yeah, yeah.
But how did this EP come together, Stella?
So Steve Fishel, who is one of Emmylou Harris's original band members, lead guitarist, he and I have been recording a lot together this past year.
Wow.
Since I kind of first moved to Nashville a little over a year ago. And every song on this EP he's played on and arranged. And so I suddenly had these like 6 recordings, and I was like, what do I do with them? You know, I can release them as singles, or I can just put them all together, and that's what this is.
Well, and I love the photography on here also. You know, and your mom took that picture, right?
Did.
And how old were you in this?
I must have been around 5 or 6.
Wow.
Yeah, I was ready to go. I was like, photo shoots, I want a manager.
I was going to say, was this around the time that you asked for the manager?
Oh yeah, I was younger actually. I was probably around 3 or 4. I was like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready.
Because you started singing at 3 years old.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, and then you started studying voice at 4 and piano at 6?
Yeah, I came to my parents and I wanted voice lessons. They obliged, and I started taking voice lessons at 4, and then piano followed around 6, and then guitar was later around 9, but I hated it at first because of my
I know, you know, I'd read from other interviews you'd done, Stella, to where, you know, even though you got, you know, like a baby Taylor at 9 years old, you really weren't attracted to it. You were writing songs already because the first song you wrote was about your dog.
That's true. Yeah, when I was 9, it's like the first time I sat down and wrote the chords and like wrote everything out. I was 9 years old, and my dog was about to pass away, and we were like putting him to sleep the day after, and it just, that brought me to write a song. Like I was just so ready with all the emotion going through me.
So then why at 14 did guitar suddenly seem like something you really needed to do?
When I was around 13, I decided, I was like, you know what, I hate guitar, I'm just gonna do it because I have to. I was like, every songwriter plays guitar, so I'm just gonna force myself. And that's really what I thought at first.
Wow.
And suddenly, I picked it up immediately. It was after like my first real lesson, I was like, okay, this is my new favorite thing in the world.
Well, and also you were raised in Woodstock, New York.
I was.
You know, so you got to see all these incredible folk artists.
Yeah.
Because I gotta tell you, most, you know, you have Gen Z folk as your thing. It's like a lot of people your age are not doing folk, Stella.
It's interesting. There's a deep appreciation for folk music in my generation, which I never expected, ever.
Right.
But I mean, like the Taylor Swift Folklore album and the Evermore albums, those are like some of the biggest selling albums of the decade.
Well, and I got to bring it up too, Stella. You've gotten some of the Swiftie fans now too.
Yeah, I have tons of Taylor Swift fan accounts following me, and they love folk music. They know who Joni Mitchell is. They love Joni Mitchell. And then it's also like the Noah Kahns and the Phoebe Bridgers and kind of the newer folk artists.
Well, you know, and I found it very interesting also, Stella, to where, you know, your influences, your 3 main influences are Karen Carpenter, Judy Garland, and Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
And then how many times did you watch the Shania Twain documentary?
I'd say over 30. Over 30 times. Oh my gosh, I'm slightly embarrassed by that.
Why? Why? You know, I mean, I think that's great because, I mean, what I find interesting though, Stella, and certainly from a younger age, is that it really motivated you with what you've done here in Nashville, you know, with some of the strong women singers-songwriters like yourself. And you're kind of the youngest one in the crowd. I mean, you were the youngest artist to play Tin Pan.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of feel lucky to be the youngest artist because I learn so much from everyone around me. So I prefer it, honestly. Yeah.
So it's not intimidating?
No, honestly, I really enjoy it.
And I've got to bring this up too, to where, you know, you've been doing Stella Prince and Friends, you know, here in Nashville, you know, for a long time. now taking this on the road.
That's right.
And around the U.S.
Yeah, Stella Prince and Friends is a showcase I started just about a year ago. It's sponsored by Change the Conversation, which is an amazing organization in Nashville.
And needed.
And fighting for women in music. And yeah, it's pretty much Nashville's only all-female folk Americana showcase.
Right.
And it's been held once a month in East Nashville. And I've taken it actually one night in London, England with local UK artists this past fall, and one night in New York City at the Bitter End, which is like the famous
I was going to bring that up, the Bitter End.
Greenwich Village Club. And that was wild.
And the Bluebird Cafe here in Nashville.
Yeah, I just played the Bluebird. And yeah, so I'm going to be doing a bunch of shows, Stella Prince and Friends, all over the U.S. this summer. It's going to be
incredible.
Maine, Connecticut, and then a few shows in California and LA and Berkeley. And
you played with the Song Suffragettes back in April.
Yes, yeah, actually that was just, yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was like something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time.
Well, I got to bring this up too, with all the great things you've done, even at your young age, Stella, you're playing France in August.
I am.
At a festival.
Yes, this is true.
Wow.
It's, yeah, it's something that like just happened, and yeah, it was just kind of something that I don't know, it's been a dream of mine for a while to play in Europe. And I've done England and Ireland actually as well.
Well, and speaking of Ireland, that's also where you found this very unique guitar.
This is
true.
That
is your main instrument.
This is, yeah, this is an Irish guitar. I got it at this tiny little music shop in Dublin.
It's
a few years ago, and yeah, it's like my favorite instrument.
Well, and also, I think the cool thing, Stella, that is that it also contains your set list on top.
It does.
Like so many artists.
Yep, right here.
You know, to where all of your songs are right there on top.
Oh yeah, it's a must. Like I cannot do anything without being prepared.
I think it's going to have to go wider though, as you keep adding songs.
I know. Well, I've been worried about this. I have like other options for songs below, but I need like a whole other part.
You're going to have like an extension on the guitar.
Yeah, no, I think I need it like all the way down here.
That is a beautiful instrument though.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, and I know you have a few other guitars, but this is your main one.
I do, yeah. I have a bunch of guitars actually.
Now, did you use this one mainly on this EP?
Yeah, only actually. Wow. This is.
And we were talking about this too, and I love the artwork in this CD. But Dear Future Me, I mean, all of these songs, your voice and the guitar sound so great.
Thank you.
With Blue Moon, the only cover on here, why Blue Moon?
This is a song that I actually had a radio show when I was 12 and 13.
Wow.
And I played music from the 30s and 40s.
I feel like an underachiever next to you. I really do.
No,
come
my
on.
gosh. And yeah, it was on this tiny little local community radio station upstate New York. It's like once a week for half an hour. I wrote the scripts out, did DJ, learned how to work the board, all that. And one of the songs I played was Blue Moon. And it was like an original. It's from like, I want to say like the late 1920s, the recording.
Yeah.
And it's always stuck with me. And then one of the first songs I was assigned by my guitar teacher when I was like 14 was Blue Moon. And I learned the chords, and I just had that in the back of my mind. And one day I was just like, I'm just going to try this out. And it became my favorite cover ever to perform.
Yeah, it sounds so good. Your interpretation, once again, I've heard a lot of different versions over the years, but your interpretation sounds great on here.
Thank you so much.
I just really enjoyed that, but I thought, that is such a unique choice.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you get it requested a lot too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I try and end every show with it.
Really?
Pretty much every single set.
Well, I've got to ask you, Stella, because your mom and dad are definitely in the arts and creatives as well. How did you convince them to move to Nashville?
So when I was 13 is like the age that everything happened.
Apparently,
I was
for
like,
you
know what? I'm a teenager now. I need to get on this. And yeah, that's really how I felt. I was like, my career needs to start now. I've been waiting long enough. It's like, come on. I've been waiting since I was 4.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's like 9 years.
Yeah, this is taking forever. So,
oh my gosh.
So, and I was like, you know what? Everyone goes to Nashville. I need to go to Nashville.
Right.
And it was like almost 2 years before we finally went for the first time. I was around, I think, 14 or 15. It was just a week, and I loved it. And so we kind of started going back and forth from New York to Nashville. But it wasn't until just a little over a year ago when I was 18 that my parents were like, all right, she needs to be in Nashville. This is obvious. I was like, yes, finally.
But I mean, what impresses me so much, besides your voice and the songs and the music you create, but also, your tenacity. You're so determined. And seeing the Stella Prince and Friends shows that you do all over Nashville, now to be taking this all over the U.S., how incredible is that?
Well, thank you.
Do you feel like your dreams are starting to come true?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's wild to see. It's kind of something that I've manifested my whole life, and have just kind of waited for the moment. So.
Well, and I think also, you know, and I know, you know, with playing out so much, doing so many shows, and certainly working with Steve also and everything, it seems like your writing keeps getting deeper. You know, that you're really sharing from your life experiences, which, do you feel that way also?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, songwriting is like the most personal thing in the world. So yeah, it's really like a diary entry every time I do it.
You know, that would be a great product to have on your website.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like a diary.
That's true,
Dear Future
actually.
Me.
Well, that's what the idea for Dear Future Me was a diary entry originally. I was like, I want to write a letter to my future self. And I tried over and over, couldn't figure out what to say. I was like, it was just too overwhelming. And then I wrote it in a song, and it was like the easiest thing.
Easy for you.
Easy, somewhat easy.
Yeah.
It was kind of difficult at first, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pull through, and it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Well, you know, and once again, a nod to, you know, the influences and everything, your musical influences. You do such a great job, Stella, with storytelling through the songs.
Oh, thank you.
You know, and your voice feels so strong, and the guitar and everything supports it. But, you know, as you and I know, a great song can hold up with only a guitar and a voice.
That is very true.
And that's how you put yourself out there. And as we both know from the songwriter rounds, it's like going, there's nowhere to hide. You can't go, you know,
that's exactly
bass
true.
or drum solo. It's
that's
like going,
exactly true.
It's more Stella.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny. Every show I do, it's just me. Even when I go out on tour, like just budget-wise, it's not possible to hire a full band, you know, to travel with me. So it's just me and my guitar for every show.
But you're going international. You're going to France.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I mean, what's going to be next?
Well, I'm about to head out on a 30-city tour in a few days, and it's going to be...
I think that's going to be an expanded tour. I would bet on that.
It's going to be a lot of shows in a very short time period, but it's going to be great.
How incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I know that also that a number of the charts and everything have been picking up your songs also.
Yeah.
And you won an award. You won a folk award a year ago.
Yeah. It was the first timer scholarship at Folk Alliance.
Wow.
And it's been really exciting this past year to see. It's interesting because like there's so many different genres that have kind of welcomed me, and it's hard to pick just one because Americana is wonderful, country is wonderful, and folk is wonderful. So it's kind of like.
But it seems like they've all embraced you in your music.
Yeah.
And that's got to feel good too, to where you're not separated out. It's not like, you know, you can only go into one style. Right.
It was hard at first, and people were like, you need to pick a lane, and it was worrisome because I was like, well, what am I going to do? You know, it's like which one? But you can be all of them.
Yeah, and you're on all those different charts too. With the Americana, with the country, with the folk.
You can do all of it.
And you're bringing folk to Gen Z.
That's my goal.
I think you're doing it. I'll tell you what, it's incredible.
I hope so.
Well, I want to make sure for our viewers, Stella, that they know your website, your social media, to come see you live, but also, you know, to find out, you know, for your CD, for the music, everything. Where should viewers go?
Yeah, it's Stella Prince Music everywhere. StellaPrinceMusic.com, Stella Prince Music on all platforms.
So incredible. I'll tell you what, however you consume music, whether it's digital or if you'd like a personal CD, and I'll bet you could even go to Stella Prince's website and get one signed and sent to you, or come out to a live show. Go see this young lady live. You're going to love her sound and her music as much as I do. From Blue Moon to Dear Future Me, all of the songs on here. At 70, what a great song also, What's Mine. I mean, just you're going to really enjoy this. An incredible performer.
Thank you.
International performing this year.
That's
it's so great to finally have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Eric, really.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Stella Prince.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.